Gaurav, Geeta was of course reporting about the remarks that Bilawal Bhutto Zardari also made at that meeting, saying that political brownie points should not be scored. But this is not about scoring political brownie points. This is about India being a victim of cross-border terrorism.
So India is the biggest victim of Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror, but be that as it may, India isn't the only victim, and that is why cross-border terrorism remains extremely crucial, and it's raised at a multilateral forum. India has repeatedly told the world, don't worry about us, we'll deal with Pakistan effectively, and Balakot showed the way. But when it comes to other countries, remember, Pakistan is notorious for spreading terror in Afghanistan. Even the Taliban, sponsored by Pakistan, has called out Pakistan for spreading terror. But that AFPAC region, China is very concerned about the East Turkestan Islamic movement that China considers terrorists. They operate out of that same region, and China is very worried that its border with Xinjiang, with this AFPAC region, especially the Afghanistan portion, could lead to a major crisis for China. But that's one point. Point two, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari in Pakistan is known as the intern foreign minister. He's supposed to be interning under his own Minister of State, Hina Rabbani Khar. And why? Because he's factually inaccurate when he talks about adhering to the United Nations Security Council resolution. Incidentally, Pakistan is not adhering to that the United Nations resolution on Jammu and Kashmir, because the first point in that resolution is Pakistan is to vacate Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The saddest aspect is, for 70 years, nobody's actually read that to Pakistan, that they are supposed to vacate Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, including Gilgit and Baltistan. The Indian army is supposed to go and establish security, and only then, when the environment is safe, can there be a plebiscite. This is very basic. Unfortunately, neither Pakistan nor a Pakistan-sponsored ecosystem has read out the real resolution to Pakistanis. They would never seek one.
Geeta, coming back across to you, of course, the frostiness that was there for everyone to see at that photo of that took place when S. Jaishankar, of course, was welcoming his guests and foreign ministers of the member states for the SCO meeting. When can there be, because you follow diplomacy, when can there be a thaw in relations? If you could just put that into perspective for our viewers.
Well, for India, it all began, the dipping of ties began with the Mumbai 2008 Mumbai terror attacks. And since then, we've seen no incremental gains when it comes to ties with Pakistan. And therefore, the real challenge for Pakistan will be to challenge the establishment and ensure prosecution and conviction of Hafiz Saeed. Now, we do know that now when we mention Hafiz Saeed, Masood Azhar, and the other terrorists, Lakhvi and so on and so forth, Pakistan's response is always, are they roaming around freely? Are they in the streets of Pakistan? No, they're in jail. But nobody is asking Pakistan, what is it that they're in jail for? If you look at the things that they've done, they've gone for the smallest of crimes, a small case of terror financing. The prosecution and conviction is not for 26/11 Mumbai terror attack. It's not for all the major terror attacks that Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Jaish-e-Mohammed have conducted within Indian territory. It is it's cosmetic. It's to show the world that they're acting against terror. It was to show the world that they have acted to get off the grey list, the FATF grey list, and that's what happened. But at the end of the day, India would want real action on the ground. And unless and until that happens, unless and until the terror factories are shut down in Pakistan and we see some real conviction of these terrorists for the crimes they committed against India, I don't see a forward movement or any momentum on the positive front when it comes to India-Pakistan ties. Follow me also at a time when there is zero tolerance within India for any sort of engagement with Pakistan if Pakistan is not going to give up on or act on terrorism and these terrorist networks. It's going to be an election year soon. It will be untenable, unjustifiable, inexplicable for this dispensation to really tell the public and the people as to why they were shaking hands, why they were hugging, why the meetings were taking place, why is there a resumption. So I don't see a resumption, at least not till 2024, or for that matter, if they want it before, not till we see some real conviction on the ground in Pakistan.
Right. Gaurav, coming back across to you, India, of course, has been reiterating this, and Dr. S. Jaishankar has been on various multilateral fora, global forum. He has been constantly exposing Pakistan. He, of course, again mentioned the channel of funds, which he says needs to be blocked, needs to be seized, which is, of course, directed towards terror activities. How much success have we had in terms of getting that message across out to the world that this needs to be stopped and start somewhere? The funds need to be stopped, for instance.
So there is no desire on the part of Pakistan to crack down on terror. As Geeta very rightly pointed out, Hafiz Saeed may have been convicted for some sham charges, but not for 2611. But where Pakistani diplomats lie through their teeth, and unfortunately they are not called out enough, is the fact that when they say that Hafiz Saeed is not roaming around freely, that's a white lie. Hafiz Saeed is roaming around freely. Just last couple of weeks, he was converting Hindus to Islam in Sindh. This is incidentally exactly where Bilawal Bhutto Zardari comes from. So Hafiz Saeed is not in jail. That Maulana of terror, Masood Azhar, he's not in jail. Pakistan has not even jailed them. Well, they may have been jailed symbolically, that their homes were converted into jail. A jail would be where a convict is sent behind bars, maybe like Kot Lakpat jail or Adiala jail. But in Pakistan, these terrorists actually end up fathering children while they are in jail. They also enjoy conjugal rights, and DGISI goes and meets them in jail. So that is exactly why Pakistan's action on terror is a sham. That's point one. Point two, Dr. Jaishankar has repeatedly raised raising of funds by these terrorist organizations, because even as late as last week, there are reports from inside Pakistan that both Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba were raising funds in the name of floods in Pakistan. So these terrorist organizations, even now, despite Pakistan having been twice on the FATF grey list and of course getting out of it because of political compulsions of various nations, Pakistan continues to ensure that these terrorist organizations continue to function because they use them as a strategic asset against India, and yet some want to mount pressure on India to engage with Pakistan. And from whatever we've seen from Dr. Jaishankar's body language or the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval or Prime Minister Narendra Modi, that clearly is not happening till the time Pakistan takes real action on terror.